Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our semi-daily Discord updates. And yeah, Cardano is still going sideways right now, and this is normal because at the end of the day we are still in QT, we are not in QE, and if you don't know what that means, I think you should probably Google it because it's easier to understand it that way. And yeah, it's still not really anything happening, but I can actually talk about something in this video, and I actually want to talk about the Fear and Greed Index for a second. The Fear and Greed is currently at 70, and if we look at what the Fear and Greed Index was doing in the previous cycle exactly 4 years ago, it was actually at similar levels in January in 2021, and we actually had a drop in January exactly at this time, so this is actually kind of normal. Now, in the previous cycle we dropped to about 40, in this cycle I believe we only dropped to about, about 50, and then we bounced, and yeah, it's not looking too great so far because, in the previous cycle, for example, in January and in December and November, the Fear and Greed Index was actually at about 95. Right now in this cycle, it barely got to like not even 90 right here, and we got above 100k. So, we'll see what happens with this. This is definitely interesting. I mean, people, yes, they are greedy, but they are not extremely greedy, even though Bitcoin is above $100,000. And why is that? Well, I think that's because Bitcoin dominance is still at cycle highs. Now, as you can see, we did not break above this previous high right here, which means that we are still in a lower high structure, and this could be good. But if you look at the RSI, on the 4-hour RSI, for example, we dropped quite a lot. We dropped from 68, which was overbought almost, to now being at like 50, and the Bitcoin dominance chart barely went down. It went down like 0.5%. And yeah, this shows us that maybe we will get another high to test the 0.618 extension again before we actually, get a huge move to the downside. Now, like I said, we are in QT right now, so yeah, there's nothing happening because of that. And just so you know what that is, basically, if we are in QT, Bitcoin dominance usually goes up. And when we get to QE, Bitcoin dominance starts falling like crazy. I'm not going to talk about that today too much, but I am going to talk about it soon in my next couple of videos because I think it's an important metric that needs to be discussed. Now, in the previous cycle, for example, when we started QE, Bitcoin dominance did this right here. It dropped quite a lot. And, we actually started it, I believe, in March or at the end of February, and the same thing happened in the cycle before that as well. So we kind of need it if we want a huge break to the downside. Now, of course, we could start going down right now, but I'm not really sure what the market is thinking, and honestly, we have been going sideways for so long now. I mean, nobody cares anymore, even though Bitcoin is at about $100,000 and Cardano is at $1. The views are actually down quite a lot. Nobody seems to care about this, even though Cardano is still up quite a lot. They don't really, watch any of the videos, and they do not really care about what's happening. They only care about it when it actually goes up. So here, for example, when Cardano was going up, this is when people were going crazy, calling for like $50 by the end of the cycle. And what do you know? I told you not to FOMO in right here because at some point we will get a correction. And yeah, we did get a correction. We dropped from about $1.30 all the way down to like 75 cents. And like I said, we are currently struggling to form a 5-wave move to the upside. But I think this 5-wave move to the upside will happen at some point, and it could happen in February. If you look at what happened in February in the previous cycle, February was actually a very good month for Cardano, and we actually started pumping on February 1st, and in February we went up about 300%. However, you have to keep in mind that during this time, Ethereum also went up. Now, of course, it did not go up as much as Cardano, but, during that time, Cardano was actually a newer coin, so, of course, it went up more than Ethereum. But even so, Cardano kind of needs Ethereum to go up if it wants to go up. Now, something to keep in mind, during this time in February, Bitcoin dominance was actually going sideways, and Cardano got a 300% pump. So, this shows us that we don't necessarily need a huge break to the downside on the Bitcoin dominance chart in order for Cardano to go up. Now, this might not be the same about the other altcoins, but for Cardano, I mean, we have seen this in the previous cycle. Bitcoin dominance does not have to drop in order for Cardano to actually go up. What needs to happen, however, is, Bitcoin actually needs to go up right now. Yes, Cardano can go up, but it cannot really go up on its own. It still needs Bitcoin, and if you look at what Bitcoin did in the previous cycle in February, I mean, after going down in January down here, we actually had a pump in February, and during that time, as you can see, the pump actually pretty much started on February 1st. Now, if you look at how much Bitcoin went up during that month, Bitcoin went up about, let's see, if we take this high right here, it went up like 80% after going down right here in January, just like it did in the previous cycle. So I'm not saying that it could happen again, but it's definitely a possibility. And if it does happen again, I have told you many times that Cardano could be at all-time highs by the end of February. I know that sounds insane, but I was saying the same thing about Cardano being at about $1 by the end of 2024. I was telling you that down here, and we were at 30 cents. We were nowhere near close to $1, and the year was almost over. We were in November, and yeah, people were calling me crazy, and we did get a pump, and what do you know, we got rejected by the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high. And like I said, once we get above this level, I think it's game on, and I think that will put us near all-time highs again. Now, keep in mind, this level is very difficult to get through because, the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high is actually near the previous 2018 all-time highs. So, of course, it's going to be difficult to get above this. I mean, in 2018, the all-time high was at about $1.39, and in this cycle, we pretty much got rejected at about $1.33. So yeah, you can expect resistance here, and this is actually very normal, and this makes sense because, the Elliott wave count also makes sense, and yeah, I'm still expecting a third wave of a third wave, but this will only happen if Bitcoin actually starts going up. And if Ethereum goes up with it, if Bitcoin continues to outperform Ethereum, and if Ethereum does not do anything, which I highly doubt, then Cardano will most likely not go up in February, and we will have to wait a bit longer, maybe until March, because like I said in my previous videos, the previous two cycles, the previous altcoin seasons, actually started in March. Now, I don't really like that idea because we had a cross on the bull market support band, and I have been talking about this for some time now, so I still believe it will start breaking down, but there is a possibility that it just goes sideways until March. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of that idea, and I don't think it's gonna happen because of the cross on the bull market support band, but you never know, and you have to be, aware of all the possibilities because anything could happen and anything might happen, so yeah, be aware of that. Now, speaking of Cardano, back to Cardano, Cardano is still doing very good, and it's still above the bull market support band, it's still respecting support levels. We did not even get to the 0.382 support level of the first wave, so this shows us that even though it's actually going sideways, it's actually holding up quite strong, and we are still in an uptrend. Now, it's not the best looking uptrend, but you could put some kind of trend line right here if you really wanted to. And at the end of the day, there's nothing to complain about. If you bought at 30 cents, you should still be fine. Now, if we start bouncing right now or tomorrow on February 1st, the next target is at about $1.30. I think I actually moved this. Let me fix this real quick. The next target is at about $1.31 almost. That's the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup that we have on the chart right here. And yeah, I think it will happen very soon. The RSI has cooled off. As you can see, we are no longer overbought on the daily RSI. We are not even above the moving average on the daily RSI, so this is good. And I think that once we get above the moving average, this could be the start of a good pump. Now, like I said, the 5 waves that we need to complete should put us above the first wave high right here, and they should put us near the previous 2018 all-time highs, maybe even above the 2018 all-time highs. And once we get these 5 waves, and let's say we get to about $1.50, then we still need an ABC down to form a second wave move, and this will be the second wave of the third wave of the third wave. And I know some of you find this funny, but after that, we will start a third wave of a third wave of a third wave, and that will be the most impulsive move of the cycle. And what you know, it makes sense, and even if it does not happen in the next couple of days, it should still happen in the next couple of weeks. If it doesn't, then we are very likely to get another low in the second wave right here before we actually continue with the move to the upside. And like I said, I would not like to see another low because that would put us in between the bull market support band right now, and that would put us most likely at the 0.382 support level, maybe even the 50% extension, and that's currently at about 60 cents. So we definitely do not want to see that, but I don't think it's I don't want to say that it's not possible for that to happen, because it's definitely possible, but I don't think it's realistic to consider that, because in order for that to happen, we kind of need Bitcoin to go down quite a lot, and I don't really see Bitcoin going down in a post-halving year. Now, I might be wrong about this, but it never really had a huge move to the downside in a post-halving year before. Now, of course, we did have 30% drops every couple of months, but these drops did not really affect the altcoin market that much, especially in the post-halving years. So even if we do get a drop like that, it should not impact the altcoin market that much. And at the end of the day, I still believe that Bitcoin will be at about $255,000 by the end of the year. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's possible, and I think it's only a matter of time until we get a huge move to the upside. And keep in mind, and it's not financial advice, I mean, this time right here, this is when you should be into crypto. I mean, of course, it would have been better to be in crypto down here when the prices were like 3 times lower, but this right now, it's the perfect time to be in crypto because nobody really cares about it. And once people start caring, it's gonna start going up like crazy, and you're gonna be too late if you do not buy the dips right now. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.